back for Arfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield. He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. Here's Rory now. On the outside. He's got
it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper!
Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that! For Nathan Teller. Oh, he's on fire at the minute. 3-0 Burnley. It's Nathan Teller's day. And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby.
Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Top shot.
Oh, the goal. Manuel Benson once more. That is top class. Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello and welcome back to the full-time shows. We are officially back. The season is back. Premier League season is underway, and that means, of course, the Turfcast podcast full-time shows are back as well. So get your comments coming in. Let me know how you thought Burnley got on yesterday. Less of the bullying, everybody, please. I've already had 3 comments about being late, but Chris said I could throw him under the bus, so I'm going to do exactly that. He decided to rearrange his room with 30 seconds to go, which didn't help, but to be fair, there was only 30 seconds to go. Martin Stevenson says, new season, same Joe late. Stuart Roll says, welcome back, Joe, the Turfcast lads. Cheers, Stuart. The Robinson says, wouldn't be a full-time show without a sprinkle of lateness. Harry says, evening, lads. Well missed a full-time show. Also, trust Joe running late. We are so back. Kaylin says, how is everyone's FPL looking? I'll be honest with you, mate. I don't really do it anymore because I'm sick of logging in for the first week of the season, getting right into it and then just never logging in again. Good to see JD back in the chat. Says, Joe, love to have you back. Hope there's plenty of calls for optimism. We desperately need a goal scorer in this side and quickly. We are not far away. Well, that brings it on nicely to the point I'm going to make first because obviously Andrew and Chris have both done fan reactions. I didn't get a chance to do one. So I'm just going to quickly talk about sort of like my thoughts on the game. Pretty similar to what Chris and Andrew both said in theirs, to be fair. I thought we started slowly. I think Chris summarised it brilliantly. I don't know if it was in the WhatsApp chat or on your video, Chris. I can't remember. Where he said we were just like a rabbit caught in headlights in that first 10 minutes. We could have easily been 1-0 down after 30 seconds or within a minute when Dubravka made that save. A good save as well, to be fair. Came rushing out. And then when the goal went in, it just felt inevitable. We hadn't really got started. Then after that, we kind of grew in the game as a half wore on without ever really creating too much in that first half, but more than holding our own in the game. In the second half, again, we started a little bit slowly. They had a couple of chances, but again, we grew into it. Then we had that chance through Anthony. Although, to be fair, it was a little bit off balance. He brought it down on his chest. It didn't really control it properly. Had to then sort of like readjust. So it was a difficult chance. And there was that one that Hannibal had. And we'll get into that chance individually in a bit. But from the moment where Anthony picks the ball up and sort of like cuts inside, does that touch that he does, that brilliant touch, and then takes them 2 defenders out of the game, which he did so much in the Championship last season. A lot of people were commented on Anthony saying he's not going to be good enough for the Premier League, but I thought he played really well yesterday. And he created that chance with that touch. Obviously, Walker with a brilliant ball, Anthony with that chance. And then from there, we have to be getting the shot away from that position that we're in. But again, that goes back to John's comment that was on screen earlier about we just need a goal scorer. And we just lacked that cutting edge. Up in that 10 minutes or so before they scored that second, and fair play from Richarlison, it's a great finish. But in that 10 minutes before they scored that, I thought we were the better side. We weren't the better side for the whole game up until that moment, but within them 10 minutes, I felt we were the better side. And I was sat watching it with my dad, and he said, if we don't score here, they're going to score. And that's exactly what happened. They went up the other end and scored. And even at 2-0, you're feeling we're out of this. And obviously, heads go down a little bit, and we concede again, quite early on after that to make it 3-0. And after that, it's game, set, and match, unfortunately. But yeah, keep your comments coming in. Claret Ormerod says, Trezor, Coley, Orshaw, and Benson off, lads. As far as I'm aware, Trezor and Coley, Orshaw, Trezor definitely. Well, not definitely. More than likely. Coley Oshaw, possibly. And I'd be honest with you, I don't know about Benson. Stuart Rhodes says, the result aside, I thought it was a good performance. We created a good few chances. We did, as I've just said, Stu. I thought that them 2 chances, with a bit of cutting edge, we scored one, or if not both of them. And then the game's 1-1. And as I've always said, momentum's a big thing in football. And then the momentum is with Burnley. And then we could potentially have got on and got something out of the game. Dominic Hall, good to see you back, mate. He says, evening, lads. I'll get my membership back at the start of the month when I'm paid, so it falls in line with payday. But I'll send a super chat now. Honestly, mate, no need to do any of that. But I appreciate the support. Brilliant. Please keep it up. Josh Sargent, please, Alan, I know you're watching. If Alan watches these, just leave a comment, please, Alan. I think he's out of our price range, if I'm going to be honest with you, Martin. As much as I'd love him, I'd be very surprised if we brought him in. Richard Wilkinson says, for me, Son should not be in the starting 11 and Walker should be the spare man. Just about prefer Rekdal to Worrell, but he needs to toughen up and play as a marker. I did feel like that, and I still feel like that. Roberts is the better player out of them two. I'm more than happy to admit that. But I don't think Son was awful yesterday. Dominic, thank you. I just literally said you don't need to do that, but he's done it anyway. But cheers for that, Dom. Ashley says, need to go back to 4-3-3. Drop Son, play Hannibal alongside Cullen and Les. I'm not trying to pronounce that last name, by the way. Claret Ormeros said, shouldn't be playing Son or Foster. I'm just not a fan. Dom says, started a new job, so don't worry about it, mate. The Robinson said, I've said it for a year now. Foster is decent, but he's more of a 10 than a 9. We need Brozier to play our Foster instead of swapping Foster. John Robinson said, the clarity in Andrew's webcam. Has he bought a whole new horde of hamsters? Have you got some new hamsters there, Andrew? Have you got a new webcam or a new internet connection? Have you been splashing out in the summer?
They're just happy after the summer break, mate. They've come back fresh, ready for a new season. That's all.
No, they'll be knackered by October, mate. They'll be knackered by October. Claret Ormeros says, all Loren, he can't be starting in the Prem for us. I love Josh, but he gave the ball away a little bit too much yesterday. But he will be more than critical of himself. I think one of their chances came from him giving the ball away in the second half, if I'm honest. Unmillion Mon says, sorry, but what Loren, Foster, and Ekdal are still doing. We'll get into individuals in a bit. I don't think Foster played awfully, but he just doesn't have the cutting edge that we need. Dominic Hall says, we need to play a back 4, in my opinion, going forward. Ekdal not good enough. We need an extra man. Harsh. Sorry. Harry says, harsh saying it. We can see who's not at the standard. Loren and Son stood out for the wrong reasons. Don't think they're at the standard we need for the Prem. Even though I said what I said earlier about Son, I do agree with that, to be fair. Ashley says, we looked a lot better than under Company, though. Actually played some long balls. I agree with that. But ultimately, the result was the same. Claret Ormeros says, yeah, Ekdal not being good enough last season either, so God knows why he started. Probably just because he's a back 5 rather than a back 3. Loren and Son can't be in the starting lineup. That tends to be sort of like the consensus going forward. Daz BFC says, welcome back, lads. Miss you all summer. Appreciate that, Daz. Tom Mawson says, how's Foster making the team? Ash Rose says, they just need to shoot more outside. New keeper, to be honest. 2, our keeper, big respect, but need more confidence. Martin Stevenson is mad how Worrell has fallen far behind. Ekdal after losing out to CJ last season. Keep the comments coming in. There's obviously quite a lot of comments, but I'm going to come to Chris first because there is a lot of chat there about the starting lineup, and there was a lot of chat when the starting lineup was announced. By the way, this new rule of announcing it whenever you want caught me off guard yesterday. I was in the middle of Paddy and Tesco when they announced it, so cheers for that Burnley FC social media team. But that was the starting lineup. The most annoying thing, in my opinion, about this is a number order, but everybody seems to do it these days, so I'm not going to criticise Burnley for doing it. Dubravka, Walker, Hartman, Steve, Foster, Anthony, Ekdal, Son, Cullen, Hannibal, and Loren. A lot of raised eyebrows, Chris, when we announced that team, weren't they? Obviously, Brozier's not in it. Les isn't in it. Roberts isn't in it, but I think he's got a bit of an injury, to be fair. But that starting lineup did look a little bit weak, didn't it, Chris, when it was announced?
Yeah, I think it's not the strongest 11 you're probably going to see in the Premier League this season, is it? But the writing was on the wall. When we played Lazio last week and he fielded the exact same team, barring the goalie, the writing was on the wall. When you play in your last pre-season friendly, you're not playing just for fitness anymore. Like, you're playing to get ready for the actual season. So yeah, the writing was on the wall. Like, I wasn't surprised that. I know some people were, but personally, I wasn't surprised at all that that's what he went with. I think some of the names who have been mentioned in the chat, it was evident without seeing them play yesterday that they were going to struggle in the Premier League. The likes of, as it's been, someone said in the comments, like, if Ekdal was sent out on loan in the Championship, how's he suddenly good enough to play in the Prem? Oliver Son didn't play barely any football for us in the Championship.
He played one game, didn't he? And we're against Sunderland where he gave away the penalty.
Yeah, that's the only time I can really remember him playing.
Yeah,
and obviously you remember it for all the wrong reasons. So he's barely played and yet starts in the Prem. And then towards the end of the season, Laurent barely got a sniff in the starting 11. And then he's starting at Spurs. And listen, it's a fantastic story for Laurent to come from where he's come from and like play in the Prem. And it's a great story, but you know, we're not here for stories. We're here to stay in the Premier League. And like, ultimately, I don't think if you play in that team every week, you're not going to stay in the Premier League. Like, there was positives at the start. First half, particularly, there was probably 30, 35 minutes of positives. But, like, we're not here for positives every week. We're here for points. You take and I know it's early in the season. People say, well, it's about performances. But, like, you know, we want points at the end of the day. It's one of them, like we say about the 500,000 for Laurent, whatever it was. Like, you get what you pay for in football. And I can't think, someone in the chat might tell me otherwise. Like, so maybe Vardy comes to mind, but I can't think of any players who've played regularly in the Premier League who've cost 500,000 in like modern history, and you're expecting them to be good enough to go to Spurs and compete. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Obviously not helped by lack of availability for the new lads. Ugachukwu obviously not fit. Brozier's not fit. Brun Larson was on the bench. There was Twanzebe's injured. Barnes, good shout. I can't even remember who signed. Like, it feels like we signed that many, but it was, I don't know, just not inspiring. But there was positives there, which I'm sure we'll get into. But the team itself, you can't field that every week.
Yeah, no. The midfield did look lightweight when the team was announced. I thought there was a few worries, and I shared that worry because I don't think Cullen was great the last time we were in the Prem. I thought Cullen played really well yesterday, but we'll get on to individuals in a bit. I want to come to you, Andrew. Obviously, I'll put the team on screen again for you. Obviously, the main thing about this is we played 5 at the back, 3 at the back, whatever you want to call it, with the 2 wing backs and the 3 centre backs. What are your thoughts on playing that formation? Because I've seen the fact that formation's got a lot of criticism, mainly because people just see it as being too defensive. But I feel the way that we were doing it was invite them on, to be fair, and then counter-attack, and that's how we got them chances, didn't we? So I don't think the back 5 was necessarily the main issue. I think it was some of the personnel being the issue, not the new formation.
Yeah, I think, look, I have no issue with the formation. Like, obviously, if we were playing it with Connor Robertson and like Humphreys, for example, as your right back and left back, or wing back and left back, I think I'd probably have a bit more issue. But the fact that, you know, we've got Walker playing almost as the right centre back, and then you've got Tom, who, in fairness, I didn't think he was that bad yesterday. I know we'll probably get onto individuals in a bit, but I didn't think he was that bad. But it allows the right back and the right wing back and left wing back to go forward, and I think Hartman has that quality. Son, like I said, I didn't think he did that bad. But it also allows Walker a little bit of freedom to go forward when he needs. And yeah, I personally, didn't have that much of an issue with the starting 11 or anything like that. Like Chris said, that was pretty much the starting 11 against Lazio. You knew it was pretty much nailed on that was going to be the starting 11 for today, but for yesterday, sorry. But we all know that when everyone's fit, Son's not going to start, Laurent's not going to start, and Lyle Foster's not going to start. You know, like Ugochukwu's going to come in and take Laurent's place. Roberts or Chuanzebe, they're going to come in and take Son's place, and probably Broja or Fleming is going to play up top. So that's not going to be our starting 11 week in, week out. Like, we've got players who are on the verge, or, you know, just need a little bit to get up to speed. So yeah. I'm not overly concerned. And like say, you go to Tottenham, you get some. Like, if we'd have got something from yesterday, it'd have been happy days. The fact that we've come away with no points, you know, I'm not too disappointed. It's teams like Sunderland next week we need to focus on.
Yeah, but Sunderland looked very good yesterday, didn't they? I think I may have been wrong about Sunderland and everything I've said already. But this is why I love the comments. The duality of man is absolutely fantastic. The Robinson says, I don't even think Son were the issue. I can't remember Hartman doing any more than Son, and none of the goals came down the left. Immediately after that, Dominic Hall says, Son should be anywhere near the first 11. Walker needs to play right back. I wouldn't have Walker at right back, if I'm honest with you, mate. I know he was good back then, but he played well yesterday, did Walker. He's one of the ones that stood out for me. I'd rather keep him there, personally. He says, Walker needs to play right back in a 4 and stick 3 midfielders, a 4-3-3. Just need to sign another strong centre midfielder, in my opinion. Harry says, Gosnod, what Ekdal were doing for their first. Tom Mawson says, it's early doors at the minute. Give it a few games before I personally start to worry. Yeah, definitely, mate. I ain't worrying yet. We played quite well yesterday. And let's get on to that. I'll come to you first, Chris. Obviously, there was quite a lot of positives to take from it. I know the main issue is the scoreline, and it does look like a battering, but I feel like the scoreline flattered Spurs. I feel like we give a good account of ourselves. My worry was Foster was offside quite a lot. There was a few offsides where it could have been prevented, but just looking at the stats there, we've got 14 shots away against Spurs, 5 of them, 5 corners. The possession is a little bit of a worry as well, but I do feel like we played quite well. Just looking at that there, most chances created, Josh Cullen, most interceptions, Josh Cullen, and if you just look at the stats individually from Josh Cullen, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And there was a few people commenting yesterday, and like I've said already, one of my issues with Cullen was, as much as I love him and I think he's fantastic in the Championship, is the last time we were in the Prem, I do feel like we got overrun in midfield quite a lot. But yesterday, I thought he played very, very well. But yeah, what are your thoughts then on sort of like the way we played and going forward? Do you feel like you've got any issues, or you're relatively happy and feel like we might be able to be quite pragmatic and get some points on the board?
For me, I've said it all summer. I don't know if I've said it on here like last season, and I don't like the back 5. I've been quite thinking about it on Twitter, and I didn't really like it yesterday. I think in possession we looked all right. We looked pretty assured. I think our best football in the first half was in possession. That's where we looked most assured. But out of possession, I just thought players didn't really know the roles. That's why they conceded early on. It's like the ball comes into the box. In fact, first and second are the exact same, really. Like crossing from Kudus, Richarlison drops off, and the defence are looking at each other like, who's meant to go with him? Was it me? Was it you? Like Ekdal's getting dragged into midfield. It's leaving space in behind, and Cullen and Laurent are pressing hard. Like Match of the Day highlighted it. The massive spaces in midfield. I don't think personally you can play 2 in midfield as a team like Burnley and get away with it every week. I said in my fan reaction, the only teams I can really remember coming up from the Championship and playing the back 3 well are Wolves and Sheffield, and they both did it in the Championship religiously. It's something it's drilled into you. That's why barely any teams in world football, if you notice, play a back 3. Because it's just back 3, back 5, they're the same thing essentially. It's so difficult to do it. So to be so successful playing 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, whatever we did, rip that all up and play back 5, it doesn't sit right. I could live with a back 5 if you maybe played 3 in the middle and 2 up front, and we compacted the middle of the pitch and let it go wide, and I could live with that. But we don't have 2 strikers, so. To me, it'd be like a 4-3-3. You need 3 in the middle in the Premier, else you'll just get overrun every week. But it's difficult, and also having a 5th defender on the pitch doesn't necessarily mean you're more solid defensively. It's just a body. We had 5 defenders there yesterday and still conceded 3 times. I think I wouldn't say 3-0 flattered Spurs as such. It probably wasn't a 3-0 game until the first half. Definitely wasn't a 3-0. But then I think after they got the 3rd, the game just kind of was dead. If it was a boxing match, we'd have thrown the towel in and just said, yeah, we'll go home here. They probably would have been happy for that. They took the foot off the gas, and it kind of the game just kind of fizzled out into a bit of nothing the last half hour. Dubravka made a good save to keep us in it towards the end. And I thought for me, 3-1 probably would have been fair. I think they were better than us considerably.
Yeah, I don't think we deserved anything to get out of it, but I do think 3-0
I think we deserved the goal, probably. It's just like, listen, no one's surprised that we've come up to the Prem and been punished the way we have with, like, let's be honest, Richarlison's 2 goals are both world class. The finish of his first one to keep his knee over it and keep it down.
No, it's a tapping according to Andrew, mate. It's a tapping, remember that?
I think it's both of them to me are like world class finishes. Like, to keep the first one down and the second one speaks for itself. But you're like, they come out of nothing. You're like, they can just. We had possession for the first one, and then like 10 seconds later, it's in the back of your net. It's just. It's
2 decent crosses as well, to be fair. From, is it Kudos?
This is again like in last season, everyone knew the roles, and now it's like we've ripped everything up, and it just looked like disjointed to me out of possession. But I do agree with the comment earlier that said there's flexibility to switch between the two, and I think that's something that he will look at. So it was good to see it, but to me, you can't play 2 in midfield in the Prem.
Yep, fair enough. Keep your comments coming in. Stuart Rose says, I would definitely prefer to go back to the 4-2-3-1 formation. The 3 at the back just doesn't suit us, in my opinion. Dom says, spot on, Chris, and it's what I'm trying to say about 4-3-3. Brian Cott's obviously talking about the midfield issue a few people have spoken about. He says maybe it's who's at the side of Cullen that is the problem with the midfield being overrun. Obviously, potentially referring to Josh Loren. Apologies if I put words in your mouth there, Brian. The Robinson says, don't mind the 5-2-3, but in possession, the middle centre-back should push to play a CDM so we can go into a 4-3-3. Harry says, I think we'll switch between 5 and 4 at the back. Nothing wrong with playing 5 at the back against the big 6. Jordan says, frustrating that the second PL season in a row, we've ditched the formation that got us promoted and gave us real balance. We should have started with the same system and changed if needed. Luke says, Brentford played 5 at the back when they got promoted. Martin Stevens says that they were clinical. And I agree with that. But when they got the chances, they scored them and scored a tap-in and a world-class finish. But that was the difference, that we had chances and couldn't really do anything with them. Oliver Briggs says, I think we'd get overrun with 4 at the back against the top 6. We were always in the game until the 70th minute. Matt says, Ekdal, Son and Laurent are not good enough. Don't get me started on Foster. Andrew Turmore says, Dubravka looked solid enough despite conceding 3. Arguably could have saved the 3rd. Trafford would have. Claret Owl says, hey, evening, mate. Jordan says, Les from the start makes a big difference in the midfield next week. I tend to agree there, mate. I don't think we get overrun as easily as what we do, or what we did, sorry, if Les was in there. Johan the Great said, just came in now. No clue if you mentioned it. I personally think Foster's performance was way better than any performance in the Championship he had. I don't think it was that bad. I agree with you, mate, but we do need to be more clinical up front. I thought Foster ran the line well without really doing anything, if that makes sense. Thought Foster was actually all right, says Harry. Anyway, let's move on. There was quite a big controversy. Is it controversial? I think it might be. There was, at 1-0, and this is just towards the end of the first half. I think it's Kyle Walker plays the ball in towards Jadon Anthony. I thought Walker played well yesterday, and there were some moments where he pinged the balls fantastically. Obviously, the one that he pinged over to Anthony in the second half, where he cut inside and laid it off to Hannibal, was a brilliant pass. But I feel like this one was just a little bit too far ahead of Anthony. It probably should have been a better pass from Kyle Walker. But there's I can't remember who the Spurs player is, apologies. But Anthony gets a shove in the back from the Spurs defender. And there was appeals for a penalty. And a few people have said they think it's a penalty. A few people have said they don't think it is. Obviously, as you can see there from the image, the ball is too far in front of him. So Anthony isn't getting that ball. So there's no clear denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. However, Anthony would, if he's not fouled, go on to get the ball and then restart the attack. So that's where my issue lies with it. And also my issue with this is it's a foul anywhere else on the pitch. So why is it not a foul in the box? However, at the same time, without sounding like I've got splinters in my backside, I do think it probably would. I don't know. I think it would have been a bit harsh to give a penalty when he's not going to get the ball. But at the same time, why is the defender pushing in the back? He's giving the referee a decision to make. But get your comments coming in. I'll put them all on screen. Andrew, I'm going to come to you first. Do you think that is a penalty? Yes or no? And please give your reasoning.
100%. You can't. I get that he's nowhere near the ball. Like, yeah, it should have been a better pass from Walker to Anthony. I get that Anthony's never going to get to the ball, so it's not denial of goal scoring opportunity. But I didn't know that they'd introduced a rule where you can just shove a player in the back. Like that for me is the complete mind-boggling thing for me at the moment. Like I get that he's nowhere near the ball, but he's been shoved in the back. That's a foul anywhere on the pitch. If
100%
the
it's a
goalkeeper,
foul. Anyway. I completely agree with that. 100% is.
If it's a corner and the goalkeeper gets shoved in the back going to pick up the ball, it's a foul. Like it going for the ball and being nowhere near it for me doesn't mean anything. You get shoved in the back in the box, it's a penalty. Like anything else for me is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, fair enough. Just get this comments coming in. I agree with Martin again. What the hell is happening? I've agreed with Martin twice in one stream. He says if that's at the other end, we know full well it is given. I said that yesterday, mate. If that is 100% at the other end, fantastic. You spot on, mate. It gets given every single day of the week. Dominic Hall says penalty all day long. A foul anywhere else on the pitch. A foul is a foul. No, says Martin. Harry says not a pen for me. Probably given the other way around though. Johan the Great says if we got a penalty, it would have flipped the game on its head, and Spurs could have played worse. Claret Al says apologies watching the footy, so not sure what's been going on before. Sort it out. I know, mate, but some people can't do the 1830s, so. We'll see. I might bring the early morning ones back. We'll never know. Matt Hindley says it was a foul, so it should have been a penalty. Claret Owl says it's not a pen for me. Then he goes on to say it happens at every single corner. Luke L says a foul is a foul. Anthony is going to get the ball before it goes out. It shouldn't matter where the foul takes place or whether he's going to get a shot off. Stuart Rhodes says anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul. And Johan the Great says yesterday's performance gives me optimism for the season because the signs we should. Yeah, he's got optimism. Chris, I'll come to you. Your thoughts on that penalty incident, please, mate.
I don't really have anything to add that's not really been said. It's a penalty, and there's not really much else to say. It's a penalty, and if it happened at the other end, it would 100% have been given. Like it wouldn't have even needed to be checked by VAR. Michael Oliver would have had his whistle in his mouth quicker than anything. Like. It's a penalty. You can't just knock someone off like that. He's keeping the ball in as well, by the way. So like the ball's still in play. Like he's going to keep the ball in, and he's going to take Porro probably one-on-one into the box. So I nothing else to say. It's just it is a penalty to me.
Yep, fair enough. Completely agree. And I'm pleased to introduce a special guest. It's Sam. He's been late. He's been at the pub.
All right, guys.
How are you doing, mate?
Oh, grand. Yourself?
Yeah.
New season. Yeah,
new season, new scenes, new season. We're just quickly discussing the penalty incident that we could have or should have had. What are your thoughts on it, mate? I'll quickly bring it back on screen there for you. Penalty or not?
I mean, for me, I think it's a bit 50-50, really. I mean, there is potentially gets to the ball, but there's no guarantee the ball's going away from him. The thing I do think is Porro's been very silly to make that challenge. Doesn't really need to make it, and I do think if it's anywhere else on the pitch, it gets given a foul. But it's I don't know. I personally would, but obviously I'm very biased. So
fair enough. Good old Sam Rant says Bell differs. Dominic Hall says evening, Sam. So everyone's happy that you're here. Just quickly give me your thoughts on the performance and stuff yesterday, please, mate. Obviously, Chris and Andrew and myself have already done it. But how did you feel about the game and the result?
I think first game back in the Premier League, I think we didn't. I was worried about the lineup at the start of the game. We talked about it in the group. Like, I think we should have had our better players on the pitch from the get-go. I think Edwards should have been playing. I think we should have had that more attacking intent, and I think those players that have the quality would have been able to do a little bit better with the chances that we did have. However, we have just gone to Tottenham and been beaten by a better team, a team with more quality, players who can pull out moments like Richarlison's overhead kick. I mean, that just took all sting out of the game. Game plan was fine, I thought. I think, we need to do that this season. We need to not try and play like we did under Company. It needs to be, the blueprint for staying in the Premier League is defending well and hitting teams on the counter-attack, and I think we did that really well. again, it's just a lack of quality. It makes me think that we're still 2 or 3 short, maybe. But other than that, it's not the easiest first game to the season, and our season is not going to be defined on a game away from home at Tottenham. So it's more about how we transition what we did against a good team into games where there's a possibility of winning. So the signs are there. It's just the only knock I had was team selection. That's it. Like, I think we set up to be this kind of defensive unit which worked, but then going forward, we didn't look like we had a right lot. And the players that were getting the chances, I mean, Josh Laurent getting one of our best chances. I mean, he's not exactly known for scoring goals, is he? So.
No, yeah. Let's speak about some of the chances, actually, because, Chris, I'll come to you first on this one. We did have, I can't remember which was first, whether it was the Anthony chance or the Hannibal chance, but the Anthony one is on screen now. So the ball came in from our right-hand side. Anthony tried to bring it down on his chest. Wasn't the best touch in the world, but I think he's trying to take it away from the defender as well, and he ends up being stretched. And he's off balance there. To be fair, I don't want to criticise him too much. He is off balance, and he gets the shot away, but it's not a great shot. There's not enough power in it. It kicks it into the floor, and then it just goes into the keeper's hands quite easily. But it's a decent enough chance, isn't it, Chris? And this is at the point where, if you just quickly look at that momentum graph, that we do start coming into the game a little bit, but then unfortunately, obviously, we don't score the chances that we get, and they go up the other end and score. But I'll just quickly bring it back on screen again. What were your thoughts on the chances that we created, mate, towards the start of the second half?
I think these two that we spoke about here, the Hannibal one and these two, are the best chances we had all game for me. I think, the most clear cut. Obviously, the Hannibal one, like when he goes through, he just takes too many touches. You've just got to get it out your feet. Obviously,
that's the Hannibal one on screen now. But this is when Anthony cuts inside, and I've screenshotted it here to say, like, how the hell do we not get a shot away from this point?
Yeah, I think
the pass from Anthony probably should have had a bit more pace on it. But even then, I think somebody just said in the comments a minute ago, I've come off that screen now, like, why is he cut inside? He should have just gone and then got his shot away.
Yeah, he just needs to get the shot away. Once you come inside onto your left, onto his weaker left foot and into bodies, you can't be surprised that you've been snuffled out against Spurs. Like, you can't be surprised. The one with Anthony, like, the reason I cut him slack is because when it originally comes into Foster like swivels on it and takes a shot with his left foot. And obviously when Foster shoots, it's never going to be on target. So it just comes at Anthony so quick. It just more like hits him than he touches it. And obviously his shot's a bit tame, but he was just never set for it coming. That was the better chance of the two for me. Just in the fact that he's essentially got a one-on-one with a goalie if you play it right. The pass weren't amazing, but he still had a chance to get an effort off.
Yeah, definitely should have got. At the minimum, he should have got an effort away.
Yeah, if you're in the Prem, as we've said before, it's about like being clinical. You're not going to get, and I think Troy Deeney said it on Talk Sport as well. You're not going to get 5-6 great chances a game in the Prem. You're going to get 2-3 max, and you've got to take minimum one of them. Like, this is at 1-0 as well. By the way, if this is 1-0 goes 1-1, the game's changed.
Yeah.
But I won't say too much more on Hannibal because I know I've played into him before. So
Don will be waiting. Don will be waiting for you. Although he has he loves your comment on Foster, by the way. So I think maybe he's again now.
He should. Hannibal should at the very, very minimum have got an effort off. But yeah, it was a massive, massive moment in the game because I think a minute later we were picking it out our own net.
Yeah. Andrew, come to you. Obviously, this is the Jadon Anthony chance as well. Quickly get that one back on screen as well. What were your thoughts of the chances that we created? We've got to be more. I know they've fallen, you could say, to the wrong people, but as Chris said, maybe some people don't want it to fall to Foster either. I do want to talk about Foster individually in a minute because I don't think he played that badly, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I've already annoyed a few people by saying that, I think. But your thoughts on the chances that we created, please, Andrew. Should we have done better with them?
Ironically, that one where Foster shoots and ends up hitting Anthony, I think he should have shot sooner. The ball comes in. I feel like if he hit that first time, he's getting it on target. Instead, he's tried to control it and then hit it with his left foot. I don't know why he's not tried to hit it with his right, but then he pinged it at Anthony. There's not much he could do. And I know you say there's not, it's probably fallen to the wrong person. For me, on that pitch yesterday, if there were anyone I wanted it to fall to, it would have been Anthony, because we know Foster can't finish his dinner. And Anthony.
What is it with you lot today?
Do you know what? When we go on to him, I'm actually going to say he's not played that bad. But it just would have been Anthony that I'd have wanted on the end of it. But it's come at him too quick. He's had to try and hit it into the ground to try and obviously beat the
Vicario. It's because he's off balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he can't get his shots away and he ends up hitting it into the ground.
Yeah, and so I can't knock him for that one. And then the other one, the Hannibal one, again, not much to be said more than, we should have got the shot off away straight away. But what I will say is that at the time I thought that Anthony made the wrong decision to pass Hannibal. I thought he should have been trying to play Foster in, but again, he's just made that great touch and taken 2 defenders out the game, so I can't knock him too much for that either.
Yeah, fair enough. Stam, your thoughts on our chances? I know Chris has summed it up brilliantly, and obviously Andrew has as well, but on this one, the very minimum, you've got to be getting a shot away, haven't you? And that's the difference in the Premier League, isn't it? That's what we struggled with last time, and we struggled defensively last time as well, of course. We even struggled to score goals in the Championship last season. But moments like this, I think he's picked the wrong pass. I think he should have passed it to Foster. And someone said in the comments earlier, then potentially even pass it on when the keeper stops running out. Then you score one of them sweaty FIFA goals. But obviously Anthony's passed it on, and the pass isn't great. And then, Anthony, I think, makes the wrong decision. So it's just a catalogue of errors, if you will. And ultimately, we don't get our shot away.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a good learning curve, and I'm glad that we've done it, quite early, and we've had that 3-0, and we've had chances in a game, and we've proven that we can, we are in games. We're not, that's my hope for this season, is that we're not rolling over for teams. Like, we went to Spurs, we had the same amount of shots and shots on target, same amount of corners. We were in the game just as much as they were at points. The difference is we just don't have the quality. And I think it comes back down to, like I say, even if Fleming's in that position, Fleming does something different. Like, if Edwards is there, Edwards does something different. Hannibal, I think, makes the wrong decision. But in my opinion, yes, the pass could have very, very easily gone to Foster. I'm not putting anything on him scoring a goal. He was good yesterday. But you can't have him leading the line this season. It just, honestly, be ridiculous. But we had chances. We were in the game enough, but again, just got beat by a better team. The chances were there. Wrong decisions, good learning curve at the start, and hopefully against teams where it actually matters, we see a dramatic difference, and hopefully an influx of 2 or 3 players, because I still think we're a bit short.
I do agree with that. I think we're short, but Parker has said that it feels like we're done. But we'll see. There's still quite a few options for loan players. Anyway, this might be a bit of a controversial topic, just judging by the fact that Chris said if you don't want anyone shooting, you don't want Lyle Foster shooting because he isn't going to score. Andrew said Foster couldn't finish his tee, and Sam said he doesn't want Foster leading the line anymore. So let's talk about Lyle Foster. I actually thought he played all right, but I do agree that there's certain moments where you don't want Foster. Where's the comment gone now? Andy Duckworth always speaks very well. He says Foster played well. We all know he has his limitations, but he has a use from the bench. His link-up play was actually very good yesterday. I thought he led the line pretty well in that sense, because his link-up play was good. He's got pace on him. We know he's got pace on him, and he helps us counter-attack quite a few times with that link-up play, with that pace. But ultimately, when it came to him in front of goal, which I presume that's what Andy means when he's talking about his limitations. Apologies, Andy, if I put words in your mouth and they're incorrect. He wasn't great, was he? So, Chris, I'll come to you first. How do you feel Foster played overall yesterday? And obviously, speak about the limitations as well, if you agree with Andy.
Yeah, I think his overall play was actually quite good. I don't think anyone kind of disputes that, really. I think you'd have to if you were ranking probably our 3 best players, I would probably assume that most fans will probably put him in there. I know some have been like very critical of him, and I can see where they're coming from. I think he would probably have been one of my top 3 yesterday if I was to pick, and I'm sure we'll come on to man of the match later. But yeah, he was up there. I think he actually suits playing in the Premier League more than the Championship because of the pure fact that he's got more space to run into, and that's what his game is about. It's the pace and power to run in behind. If the game's closed up in front of him and you're asking him to take touches in the middle of the pitch, that's not what he's good at. He's good at like running in the channels and getting in behind. And, but for the pace of Van de Ven, who's practically like an Olympic sprinter, he would have had a clean through one-on-one. But that's where the problem comes in. Like I think me and Sam were saying in the chat yesterday, like what use is having a striker who can't score goals? Like it's useless. He scored as many goals for Burnley in 2.5 years as the number he's wearing on the back of his shirt. And like he had the brass neck to take the number 9. So like, we have got a problem up there. I think he could be useful in certain games. Like I said, in them games where we're countering and the space for him to run in behind against those teams who play high lines, he could be useful, but you've got to balance that out and say, well, he's not a goal threat at all. He just isn't. Like he went through the other day and I think someone blocked it over the bar in the end, but I would probably put my house on the fact it wouldn't have gone in anyway. Like that's how unconfident I am when he goes through on goal. He's just not a goal threat. And at the end of the day, when you're in the Prem, you need someone clinical in front of goal who's going to put the ball in the back of the net because you ain't getting many chances. So the ones you do get, you need to put them away. And Foster's not that guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, Martin Stevenson says he did do okay, work rate, etc., but I would trade that for someone who could take a chance. Obviously, I've already read Andy's comment out. Claret Owl says, I'm obviously in the minority, but I didn't see him threatening the goal. You say that. I feel like everyone does agree with that. I would feel like he played well, but then can't threaten the goal. Another comment from Andy. He says, we need to do well in the Leeds, Sunderland, Brentford, West Ham, Wolves mini league. Not going to be easy, but we can have a goal for sure. Parker does well in many key games. I agree with that. MJH Gaming says it's mad to think that we once had Chris Wood and look what he is doing now. It's one of them though, mate. A lot of Burnley fans didn't actually rate Chris Wood, to be fair, when he was here. Andrew, I'll come to you next, please, mate. Your thoughts on Foster's performance. Another interesting stat here is obviously the average positions and stuff when they have the ball. And obviously, as you can see, Foster's a little bit deeper than some of the other midfield lads, which is just to show that he's obviously coming in deep, trying to get the ball and link up play. But what were your thoughts on the performance of Lyle Foster, please, Andrew?
I thought he played well. If you were to consider he was playing as like a 10, but the fact that he wasn't, he was playing as striker. I've been thinking about it like over summer break. Like he has obviously got potential and he's obviously got quality. Like we saw that last time in the Premier. Think back to like the Aston Villa game and stuff. And yesterday, like he was linking up well with Anthony, and like say, he was coming deep and trying to get the ball. But I just feel like he lacks that quality that we need up front. And obviously, like Chris says, 9 goals in 3 seasons. That ain't, like, we all know that's not good enough. I'm sure Foster knows that's not good enough. And if he's going to be our number 9 and the player we're relying on to put the ball in the back of the net to keep us in the league, we're not going to stay in it very long. But like his performance-wise, outside of that, I thought he actually played quite well. I thought it was probably one of his better games in a Burnley shirt. And yeah, like Chris said, there's not much more I can say on him. He's not a striker to me, especially not, should not be leading the line.
Yep, fair enough. Sam rant incoming on Lyle Foster. We all know how you felt about him over the old last couple of seasons, but how do you feel like he played yesterday and the thought of him leading the line this season? I won't mention what you said in the group yesterday, but I think I know what your answer is going to be.
Oh, listen, mate, I will die on the hill. I've said it to you already. Like, I think he played well yesterday. I think link-up plays fine. There's geezers that do that in the National League who can link play up with wingers. Like, I'm sorry, but there's players who can run around for 90 minutes in a game up front, do nothing and still score a goal. We've got a striker who scored 9 goals in 3 years. He's been here for 2 managers, and 2 managers have put him up front, and he's scored a goal 9 times. He's been injured 3 times. He's got in behind his man 4 times, and he's been offside about 140 times. Like, he's just not the guy. Like, and at some point, you genuinely have to make that decision. Football's a business. You've bought in a striker for £20 million. Clearly, he's going to be the person who leads the line. Like, Foster is a good utility player to have off the bench. He's not good enough to start the season. We won't stay in the Premier League if he starts all year. It's a fact. Statistically and realistically, what has he actually shown to give anybody any confidence that he's the striker for us? Like, do you know what I mean? Even Calvert-Lewin, who's been cropped for about 3 years, he's still got pedigree in the Premier League. He's still had a season scoring over 10 goals. Like, Lyle Foster had a spell of scoring 3 goals in the Premier League. The thing that he has on his side, which I do like, is he's big. He's available to hold his man off, and that's something that you actually don't see a lot of in the Premier League. I mean, I've just watched that United-Arsenal game, and like, Gyökeres is exactly the same. Like, you don't necessarily always need that quality, but if you're big and you can hold the ball off, you're going to do all right. That's what Foster has got going for him. Put the ball in the box and he kicks the ball at Jadon Anthony. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, the thing that annoys me though, and I can't help it, is we have the same conversation every single season. We've talked about him now for 4 years. Is he the guy? When's he going to get good? At some point, you just have to say enough is enough. I've seen enough. I've seen 4 years of it. I've seen nothing. Get Brozier in when he's fit. He starts. If Foster's the guy to come off the bench, so be it. But for me, you cannot have a full season playing him as much as he has. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, can you guys still hear me because my camera's frozen?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, there we go. But this was going to be my next question. And I'll stick with you, Sam, because you've just mentioned it, bringing Brozier in. But Bell Differ says, I can't read Brozier being any better than... I won't read what you said, mate, but we'll say Foster rather than what you tried to spell. Do you think Brozier comes in and improves us?
Well, there's a guy who's come from the Belgian league and done nothing, or a geezer that's been at Chelsea for the majority of his career. Like, you know, there's already enough there to say that we spent £7 million on Foster, and in 4 years he's got 9 goals. And Brozier has at least been able to score goals for Chelsea. All right, not in heaps and bags, but he did all right. He wasn't bad at Southampton. Like, they were just an awful team. Like, for me, Brozier's a better fit. He's a good player who likes to get the ball to feet. He's also tricky with his feet, so he's able to.
I like the look of him. My only concern is his injuries.
Yeah, his injuries are a big thing, but that's the only thing that people have. Whereas I think this is kind of a thing though. Like, when you bring in a new player, you don't know how he's going to play in a Burnley shirt. Like, you can only go off of what's happened before. Whereas what we actually have for Foster is we've now got 3 or 4 years of actually watching him in a Burnley shirt. And Chris has just made a good point about the Championship. We haven't seen that either. Like, the Championship is a better league for him to actually show what he can do, and he hasn't done it. Like, so we can go around in circles talking about like what he does add to the team and how he can hold the ball up and how he actually how he was able to pass to his teammate the other day. I mean, the guy's got 9 goals in like 4 seasons. He was bought under Vincent Kompany, who left us 18 months ago. Like, at what point are we actually just going to turn around and go, it's not working, pal? Like, he just needs to move on. And I think Brozier's a better fit. I agree. I totally agree with the injury stuff. Like, it is a risk, but it's the proactiveness from the club going out and spending £20 million on a position that they absolutely categorically know we need. We know the striker pool in world football is not, it's not easy to buy a striker. I think we've gone and got somebody who has been trained in the division, who's played in the division, who has played for a big club and been at a big academy for a long time. And I think, I've got more expectation on Brozier than I do Lyle Foster now because of the track record. And I can see loads of people talking about Josh Sargent as well. It'd be great. We're not spending 25 mil on another striker.
Yeah, there's no chance we're spending that, especially after what we just spent on Les and Brozier.
If we bring signings in now, it's loans and cheap buys. It's 10, 15 million tops.
Then I'd be surprised. I think it's just loans now.
I think this is the squad. I think, like I said, the signs are there. Style of player wasn't bad. I don't think we were poor. But if we're talking individuals, even though he had a decent game yesterday, and I hold my hands up and say he did have a decent game. If we line up with Lyle Foster next week, if Brozier's fit and Brozier's on the bench, I'll be like, what are we doing?
Well, Parker has just said today that he needs to get up to fitness, so I'll be interested to see what we do with that. But that's a different debate, and we're not going to have it now. Chris, I'll come to you next. Obviously, we know that Brozier's still to come into the team. We know that Leslie's still to come into the team. Do you think we have enough at the minute? Because obviously you mentioned earlier, if you start with the likes of Lyle Foster and Josh Loren and Son in the Prem, that we're not going to stay up, I think was one of your quotes, or a quote from one of you lads, or maybe someone in the comments. If we bring Brozier in and Leslie and some of the others that we've signed, do you think we currently have enough to stay up?
Not for me, no. No, probably not. I think we need... There's obviously the big question over Brozier is if he can stay fit. If you can get 30 odd games out of Brozier, you're all right up top. You've got a chance. Probably get by for a few without him. But are you going to get 30 out of him? You just don't know. He's probably not. I don't have the numbers to hand, but if he's played 30 over the last 3 seasons, I'd be surprised. I still think we need a centre back, like a proper centre back, not like a young lad coming in who's going to be good in 2 years' time. I think we need a proper centre back, someone with Premier League experience to come in and play next to Steve. Someone with a bit of pace, ideally too, because obviously Ekdal's not got any.
Yeah, he's so slow.
He's so slow. It's like when he's getting back at Johnson for that third goal. And listen, Johnson's quick, and I'm not proclaiming like I'm Usain Bolt myself, but Ekdal's running in glue trying to get back to him. And you think if that's Walker, and all right, Walker's very quick, but even if it's Estev, you just feel like he might just get back at him enough to just give him a nudge or something, but he just couldn't get anywhere near. I'd like to see us get a centre half, a proper one. And if we've only got a pot of money to spend on one player, it has to be a centre half for me to get someone proper in. Bayer can't stay fit. Humphreys has got, again, he was injured last season. He's injured again. Twanzebe, I believe, is injury prone as well. I think I remember someone saying it when we signed him. And Ekdal's just not good enough to play in the Prem for me. So we need a centre back. If he's going to flit about between back fives or he's going to stay with a back five, he needs a right wing back to me. I like Connor Roberts, but is Connor Roberts really a right wing back in the modern game in the Prem? I don't think so. So I'd like to see us get a wing back if he's going to do that, someone on loan, or whether you can get someone, I don't know, like sort of Hartman, but for the other side.
Yeah,
and
Hartman. I thought Hartman played well yesterday.
I still probably wouldn't mind another midfielder. As daft as it sounds, I know we've just signed Les, but whether we can get someone on loan, we need 2 good. I think you get 2 domestic loans, don't you? We need to use that loan market properly because we're obviously not flush with cash. 2 proper loans, not we'll take some kid from Arsenal who's never played in the Prem. We need 2 proper loans, to use them slots properly. I still think we're probably 3 players short, but maybe I'm kind of hoping for something that's not going to happen. But if we could only sign one more player this window, I'd sign a centre back. Yeah, like an Assignon, someone like that to play at right wing back. Someone who is actually a right wing back. I don't think Roberts would be in the Prem now. I just don't think he's got that athleticism to play there. The guy is quite good. I think he's been mentioned a few times. Van Ewijk. Yeah. But again, it comes down to money.
Comment on screen. I'll stick with you, Chris, from Andy Duckworth. Would you take Craig Dawson? Appreciate not quick. He's available. For me, it's the same issue with Ekdal.
Yeah, I agree. I think same as Ekdal, just not quick enough. Maybe 2 seasons ago when we come up under company, he probably said, yeah. But nah. The one for me, and I said it ages ago, and I said it to my brother coming home last night in the car, like, we should, listen, he re-signed for Everton in the end, so there's not really much you can do, but Michael Keane was that guy for me, like experienced, really quick over the ground, so much Premier League like experience and everything we needed, and obviously he signed for Everton, so there's nothing you can do about it. But if we could have, like, he was that guy for me, like, to play next to Esteve, but that's by the by.
Yep, fair enough. Obviously, Andrew, I'll come to you next on this one. One of the new signings we did get to see yesterday was obviously Martin Dubravka. Made some decent saves. One of them was after about 30 seconds, made a decent save as well in the second half, just before we had them couple of chances where he just comes rushing out. I think it's a Richarlison shot and he gets his left boot to it. I thought he played quite well. What are your thoughts on Dubravka? And just to caveat that, there was quite a lot of people sort of like criticising him. I can't remember who it was for the second goal that Richarlison scored or the third goal, saying Trafford would have saved that. But what are your thoughts on how he played, Andrew?
Yeah, I think you look at the scoreline and you say 3-0, right, he's had a bad debut. But for me, he's actually made some good saves. You know, that there's that one that he mentioned in the first 30 seconds, like, that was a good save. And that, like, we're under the cosh and we're under pressure from the start. So for him to make that save so early on, it kept us. Staff saying it kept us in the game for us to concede 10 minutes later, but he kept us like in it. If we were 1-0 down 30 seconds in, I think everyone's head would have exploded. There's not much you could have done for the first goal. Obviously, it's a good cross from Kudus. Bit of a mistake in defence. You know, Steve makes a bit of a bit of a rare mistake. Cullen's too slow to get the ball back, and Richarlison's tapped it in. So there's not much that he could do. Shut up, Chris. There's not much he could do for that first one for me. And then the second one, again, I said it in my fan reaction, sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, like, it were a good goal. Like, there's no placing the blame on anyone for me. Like, it was a good goal. I think the third one he could have done better with. I do think Trafford would have saved it, but at the same time, you know, he's made some good saves in the game. He's come out and commanded his box well. He's made some good catches from crosses.
I do think he did well on crosses.
Like I say, he's. I'm not going to say he had an absolutely brilliant debut, but for what he did, you know, there was nothing he could have done for goals for me.
Yeah, fair enough. MJH Gaming says he will be a good keeper. Got Prem experience, pretty smart bit of business, really. Dominic Hall says happy with Dubravka. Very good piece of business with Vice brought in for very little, who's waiting in the wings. Clara Owl says he was slow for 2 goals. I think Traff would have had the first and the third. Comment on screen from the Robinson. He says, I think he should do better with the first. He was still on the front post by the time it were in the net. I do think Traff would come across for that one. And yeah, that's pretty much it on the Dubravka in terms of the comments. Sam, your thoughts on the new goalkeeper, please, mate?
I think my overarching thing with it would be, we've sold a keeper for 29 and bought a keeper for 2. Like, we've made money on a goalkeeper, a good goalkeeper, and absolutely would have done well in that game and done well for Burnley this season. But his heart was never to stay at Burnley. He was always wanting to move on to the next thing. I mean, let's be honest, we bought England's next best up-and-coming goalkeeper under Vincent Kompany when the project seemed like, I know we hate that word, but the project seemed like it was going on an upward trajectory and we were going to play this expansive style of football and turn teams over. And he dropped into the Championship, had a great season. But there's never really any loyalty there from him in particular. I think, you know, doing the maths, I think it's worked out better for us. We were able to bring in a striker that we needed a lot more than the goalkeeper. And we've been able to bring in a central midfield player who hopefully can hit the ground running and be a good player. So I think in terms of swapping Trafford for Dubravka, I think it's good business. In terms of how he played, I thought he was good. I thought he was decent. Again, I just think we got beat by quality. And I think it's a good lesson to have early on in the season. I think it'd be annoying if you're playing Sunderland first game of the season and you're getting that type of result and you're saying, hang on, like this is a team that we're meant to be scrapping around with. Hopefully, just from having that result and being able to say, listen, we've been in the game, we created chances. Hopefully, we can kick on and do things like that. I don't put a right lot down to the goalkeeper. The bicycle kick's a good goal, like it just is. The first one, all right, positioning wise, how old is he? Like 36, like stuff like that. Shouldn't be getting there anyway. Realistically, like he shouldn't be getting an opportunity to cross the ball in, and he shouldn't be getting an opportunity to have the ball in the box and finish. Like. So that's on other players as well. It's not necessarily down to the goalkeeper. I think it'll be good for us. I think business-wise, I think what we're at, £2 million. Right, you can't scoff at it. He's got a lot of Premier League experience. A lot of Newcastle fans were celebrating him moving to us as well, saying what a good goalkeeper he is. So, yeah, and it's only one game. Like, eventually across the season, I reckon it averages itself out. I reckon he has big saves and big moments and, hopefully plays a big part for us. And like people have said, we've still got this young German goalkeeper that we've signed who's pretty highly rated as well. So he's always waiting there in case something goes wrong. And yeah, I think the goalkeeping room's fine. And I think we've made money on a good goalkeeper. So investing back into the pace.
Can't really disagree. I liked the comment from Martin Stevenson, just to be shamelessly plugging myself and get some more likes. He says over 100 people in here and only 17 likes. Hit that like button, champ. So yes, if you are watching and you like what you see, hit that like button. If you don't, hit the dislike button. I couldn't care less because they both boost the video. Right. We've obviously just hit the hour mark, and I'm trying to not have the videos being 1 hour 45 minutes anymore because people probably get fed up with them. So we are going to start looking now towards the man of the match shout. So please, in the comments, let me know who you felt was the man of the match yesterday in Burnley's game at Spurs. Obviously, the defeat at Spurs, and I will come to Chris first. Chris, who was your man of the match, please, mate?
Josh Cullen, and I don't particularly think it was that close. I just think he was just everywhere. I think we had this passing map up before. He's just everywhere. Like it does. I think it's the one. I don't know if you can pull it back up. The one where it shows. Yeah, that's the one. Just look how many thick white lines are going to Josh Cullen. Like that just tells you how much goes through him. Like to me, if Josh Cullen's the beating heart of that team. If you take him out of it,
I agree with that.
It would just fall apart. He just holds everything together. Captain for the season. I thought he led by example. Even towards the end of the game, when the game was gone, he was still flying around the pitch. He retains the ball so well. Cullen, and for me, it was I would actually say by a landslide. I don't think there was anyone who was close to him. The fact I'd probably say Foster was his next nearest tells you how far, but in a way, he was man of the match for me. Maybe Walker. Yeah, Walker was all right, actually.
Yeah, Walker played well.
Walker was all right. But I don't think he got close to Cullen for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Keep your comments coming in. I will put all of them on screen at some point and read every single one of them out. Andrew, you next, please. Who is your man of the match?
I like to be different, so I'm going to say Josh Laurent.
Here he is.
Echoing Chris, it's Josh Cullen. He created the most chances yesterday. He was absolutely everywhere. I know last time he was in the Premier League, people thought he wasn't quite up to it. But yesterday just showed that for me, he is up for it. And yeah, he's going to be crucial for us this season. And I think yesterday he showed it. I think Walker close behind for me. I think he played quite well. Showed the quality that we know that he's got. But yeah, Cullen's just head and shoulders above everyone to me yesterday.
Yep, completely agree. Claret Al says, man of the match, Hartman for me. Martin Stevenson says Cullen. Dominic Hall says Foster with a couple of laughing emojis, so he's probably taking a piss. Harry says Cullen. The Robinson says Cullen. Bell Differ says Andrew's been keeping the hamster well fed and watered, 100% man of the match. You've had a good connection today, mate. It's been better than mine, to be fair. Reece Dean, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. He says Cullen. Walker was good also. Dominic Hall says Cullen for me. There's his real answer. Martin Patterson, good to see you as well, buddy. He says Quilly for me. Great to see you guys back. Thank you, mate. Claret Al says Steve, quiet on that map. It's not his job to be passing, to be fair, is it? Andy Duckworth says man of the match, Cullen. He will do better with Leslie. I completely agree with that. Jose Rodriguez says the fans are making the trip down there. The Robinson says Foster deeper than Hannibal there. Just say we did mention that earlier, mate. You might have been dipping in and out, but it just goes to show that it was coming deep to get the ball and do the link-up play for me, to be honest with you. Mr. Mid-15 said, did Brogy play this game? If so, how was his performance? No, he didn't play, mate. Brett Foot says, man of the match, Cullen, Foster, Hartman. I think that's his order, so Cullen wins. Claret Al says, some of them ping passes from Walker were another step up. Completely agree. Andrew Turmore says, man of the match, Cullen. Keep them coming in if you want your comments read out. Sam, your thoughts on the man of the match, please, mate. Who was your man of the match?
Yeah, full house. Josh Cullen for me. He's taken that mantle of captain from Brownhill, and he's absolutely ran with it, really. So
yep.
I thought he led by example. Didn't really put a foot wrong. Was a dictator in midfield. Got the ball left and right. Played some passes forward as well. I can't necessarily say I controlled the midfield in a game that we had quite low possession, but in the possession that he did have, he was really good. And yeah, taking over from Brownhill as captain is not easy. So
yeah, not for you, mate, seeing as you're Brownhill's biggest fan. But you said there full house earlier. I haven't voted yet.
Yeah,
but it is a full house. It was a full house. I will mute you, mate. Don't make me mute you. It is a full house. Cullen for me as well. Ed and Shoulders with anybody else on that pitch. A couple more comments have come in. John O'Callaghan says Cullen as well. Josie Rodriguez says Brett. John Slattery says, can we still say man of the match? Yes, mate. You can still say whatever you want on Turfcast. Cullen Kettle of the match for all I care. But yeah, Cullen for me is easily the man of the match. Easily the man of the match. We will wrap it up there unless any of you lads have got something you want to add.
Sign some more players.
Yeah, Alan, if you're watching, JJ Watt, if you're watching, I think Espanyol are playing tonight, aren't they? Because I saw JJ Watt saying he were going over to Barcelona, so they're probably not watching. They're watching Espanyol, if Espanyol are playing.
They only kick off at 8:30, so they could be watching.
Could be watching. Hey, Alan, come here. Let's watch Turfcast before Espanyol game kicks off. Yeah, we'll do that, JJ. Unlikely, obviously. Yeah. Tell you what, I'll wrap it up there before I embarrass myself even more. But it's good to be back, everybody. Apologies for the poor updates over the season. Obviously, explain stuff like that on the pre-game show. The pre-game show. Go on, Andrew's butting it. Sorry, go on, mate.
Just before we go, can we just talk about how lovely the weather's been this week?
It's been brilliant, hasn't it? Can you not tell how great my tan is, by the way? Well, Andrew loves a chat about the weather, so he's going to get that. Yeah. Well, Andrew's got his weather chatting. Almost the full house of Burnley shirts as well, says the Robinson. Obviously, Sam letting the team down, but he wanted to show off his muscles, so he's got his gym shirt on. He's been hitting the gym over the summer, apparently. There you go. Hitting the tattoo shop as well, by the look of it. George Rodriguez says, good to see you all again. Great to see the podcast and the YT channel back up and running. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. Andy Duckworth says, lads, on the positives, if we can get Brozier, Leslie, maybe to Nzebe at CH on the pitch, we should look solid. We'll need some luck with injuries, fingers crossed. I agree with that, mate. As I've said in my other video already, my main worry is the lack of depth. An injury to Steve, and we're pretty much relegated, and a few injuries in the middle, and we're playing Lorraine again. MGH Gaming says, let's get behind them, roll on Saturday. We get results Saturday and all with positive. Fingers crossed, mate. Claret Al says, great to have everyone back. Dominic Hall says, how's that hamster? There's been a few comments on the hamster, Andrew. You do get a bit of stick you on here. How is the hamster? Is he all right?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Like I say, they've just been looking after themselves over the summer.
Yeah, happy days. Brett Foot, good to see you in the chat again, mate. Oh, it's done the thumbs up there, but you can't see it because I blurred it out. He says, Cullen for me, obviously he's going back to the man of the match thing. Never dropped his head, night and day from the VK season. He led with his head held high and the rest of the team followed. Lots of fight. that wasn't there last time in the Prem. George Rodriguez is obviously talking about you again there, Sam. Or he could be talking about me or Chris or Andrew. You never know. It's probably Sam, to be fair. He does look jacked there, not going to lie. Andrew, do you have all 3 shirts yet? The Robinson's asking.
I've yet to get the 3rd one, but I'll probably have it before end of month.
Yeah, same as me, mate. I've not got that one yet. But anyway, we'll move on before Andrew tells us what he's buying from Top Man when it comes back on the high streets. But thanks everybody for watching. As I said earlier before Andrew put it in, it is good to be back. Apologies for the lack of content over the summer, but we will be back doing the pre-game shows and then the full-time shows. Lads depending, but we've got a full house today, so it's looking good for the season. And I do already have a Sunderland fan for the pre-game show. Obviously, I couldn't get a Tottenham fan, to be fair. So that will be back, uploaded at some point during this week. But thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.